Welcome back to the Executive Dad YouTube channel. Today's video is a clip from our most recent podcast with Jason Vonk, where he shared his second leadership principle: feedback is a conversation. I thought this framework and this principle were so impactful. I wanted to share it as a short clip. But if you love this clip from Jason, be sure to check out the full episode on the channel or check it out on Spotify. I hope you enjoy it. Please comment, let us know what you think. Leadership principle number two.
Yeah, that's having a feedback conversation. And that's a paradigm shift from giving feedback. So giving feedback looks like, hey, Nick, I signed this task to you, and I'd really like to see you change the way that you do this part. And I need it done a little faster. So I walk into the conversation, I start telling you the problems I see and asking you to fix them the way that I want you to fix them. And the shift there of a feedback conversation is probably, first of all, we put it on the calendar, right? I assign you a task and I say, hey, in a week, we're going to have a feedback conversation, next Tuesday at 10 a.m. for just 15 minutes. And I lead that conversation by saying, hey, what's going well? What's working? What else? I get lots of feedback from you about how you see the project going well. Then I ask you, what would you do differently? What do you want to improve? I get your feedback about the improvements. Now, at this point in time in the conversation, you have probably said everything that I might have said to you.
Right.
And if you haven't, the follow-up is, may I offer a suggestion? And then as a leader, I add my suggestion, being careful not to overwhelm. So maybe one suggestion at the most, two at this point in time. And that's the outline of a feedback conversation. It reduces anxiety. A lot of times people actually look forward to it because not only are they getting feedback, but they're getting an opportunity to have a conversation with their leader
Right.
and point out their positive performances that their leader might not be seeing.
Yeah, for sure. I love a good framework. That's probably going to come through in a lot of these conversations, but anything we can build structure, build in discipline in how we approach situations to allow for that freedom. And I think that, feedback as a conversation is a beautiful depiction of that, allowing you to have that structure. Hey, Jason, go ahead. We're going to have a feedback conversation in a week. It's scheduled for this time, so they are prepared, right? So it allows that initiative and nervousness to fall away, like you pointed out, and then allowing them to be empowered to
Yeah,
lead that conversation. Like think of the value, because the first thing that comes to mind when you think about feedback in maybe a not great environment is feedback is negative,
that's
right?
right.
So this framework I think is amazing. And how do you see that playing out as a dad? Let's turn the tables. We've now focused as an executive, as a leader in the workplace. How can we use this in the framework for parenting?
Yeah. And let me say this, it's really a coaching paradigm. It's asking questions, it's letting the person that you're coaching be the one giving the answers. And so I remember the first time I tried it with my 15-year-old son, he loved it because he didn't feel accused by me. He came up with the answers. He was so motivated to actually make the change because it was his idea.
Right.
So it works great with teenagers. With the littler ones, you have to choose a conversation that they truly would be able to engage in,
Right.
truly be able to say, to think about at their age and their level. But I still use it. My youngest is 6. I'll still use it with him. He might be out with a friend and things don't go well. And I'm like, hey, tell me about the interaction. What did go well? Where did things go wrong? What did you own? What could you have done differently? Because usually they come back and they say, so and so is mean to me. But if you ask them what they own, what they could have done differently, how they could have handled the situation better, usually they can come up with something.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And again, allowing them to be in control of the situation, take that ownership, and then the buy-in on the back end, right? When it's their idea, you're like, hey, that sounds like a good plan. Let's go with that. Whether it's the kids or in the workplace. So that's amazing. If you didn't write that down and you're listening, I think you should have. Feedback is a conversation. Now, moving